Hey, what is going on, guys? Today I am sharing with you 5 brand new Assetto Corsa mods that you need to check out. We have some super cool stuff on today's list, from some track day cars to some fictional and real life circuits as well. Before we get into it though, I'd like to give a quick shout out to my second channel, JC Racing. If you want to see some broader sim racing content besides just Assetto Corsa mods, that will be your one-stop shop for it. You can find it down in the top link in the description below. But without further ado, let's get right on to the first mod on today's list, and that is Domqera. I hope I'm saying that right. This is a fictional FIA Grade 1 circuit based in Egypt. Its international F1 layout, if you will, is 5.4 kilometers long. It's a quite interesting and fun track layout. You got some hard braking zones in Sector 1, with Sector 2 being really fast and flowing, and a couple little hard overtaking zones maybe down in Sector 3, but most of your overtakes are going to be down into Turn 1, maybe into Turn 3, and maybe a few other little places on the track depending on the run you get. But it also does have a karting track as well as kind of an inner loop and an outer loop as well, so a lot of super cool stuff to try. This is made by Chileno Excite. I hope I'm saying that right, over on Race Department. He's done a fantastic job with this track, even made a fictional logo for it as well. Super cool stuff. You can find this one down in the Race Department link in the description below. Next up on the list, we have the 2010 Volkswagen Golf GTI, but a kind of track car version. This is one of those mods. I actually find these cars really cool, where it's a stock car, but it's basically imagining if you were to turn it into a homemade track car, what would it look like? And this is what 101 Creative has come up with. 365 brake horsepower, 500 newton meters of torque though. It all weighs just 1,040 kilograms, so this thing is pretty quick. Doesn't have a super high top speed, but besides that, it is very quick through the gears, and if you're on a track where you don't have a ton of super long straights, this thing is going to be a ton of fun. And it does have a quite surprising amount of grip as well, which is really nice to see. The car model is super high quality. I love all of the carbon bits and little aero bits tossed around, and the interior as well, with the track seats and the custom steering wheel and all that. It all looks very, very nice and sounds great as well. So if you're into these kind of cars, definitely one you should try out. You can find it down in the link in the description below. Now we head over to a historic racetrack. This is the 1988 layout of the Detroit F1 GP. This was, of course, back in the legendary days, if you will, of the Senna, McLaren, Honda era, and when they tried to race around the streets of Detroit. It was definitely a very interesting race, and a very interesting layout as well. 4 kilometers long, however, it's quite a long lap because quite a lot of it is hard 90-degree corners, and it's a pretty slow track, all things considered, but still a novelty for its day, definitely. This is made by Carrera 4 and Rainmaker. If you don't know who Rainmaker is, he does a lot of super cool historic tracks and conversions and things like that, and this one is definitely right up there with some of his best. If you have the old VRC McLaren MP44 still on your hard drive, you can't get it anymore, unfortunately, but if you got it when you could, this will be a great track to try it out on. But even some 80s F1 cars, this is going to be a fun one to lap if you haven't tried out this circuit previously. You can find it down in the link in the description below. Next up, we have the Estonia 19. This was a Soviet formula car, a little bit of a junior formula car for some lower tier racing, thought up in the Soviet Union in 1975. This mod is brought to us by Ziz Games, and it is quite a cool little open wheel car. Only 108 brake horsepower and 110 newton meters of torque. It just weighs, though, 430 kilograms, so this thing definitely does scoot along the track. It's got quite a few liveries as well, so if you want to do some racing with the AI, you're definitely not going to be lacking in terms of livery variety. And yeah, just a very interesting little formula car, again, birthed out of the Soviet Union. So just very, very interesting, and I'm so glad that in Assetto Corsa we have these kind of historic cars that I've never heard of. I'm sure the vast majority of you have never heard of, and we get to try them out here in the comfort of our own home on our silly little racing wheels. But yeah, a super cool car, super high quality as well. I highly recommend you check it out. You can find it down in the race department link in the description below. And finally on the list, we have a track that I hope I'm not completely butchering. This is Potrero De Los Funes. This is an Argentinian track. This is once again being posted over on Race Department by Rainmaker, and it is a very interesting track in the Argentinian countryside. Its full layout with all the chicanes is 6.1 kilometers long. It does have a no chicane layout as well. However, it's pretty much just deleting a tiny little chicane, so not that much of a difference. 6.1 kilometers long. This one has 32 pits, so any kind of racing you want to do around here, you will be able to do. And this track has quite a few unique sections, from some very fast, quite long feeling straights to some really tight chicanes and hairpins up in the forest. This is a super interesting track and quite a challenge as well. It's very wide, so you have a lot of room to work with, so it could be quite fun for racing as well. And overall, just a very interesting and unique track, being kind of just in the countryside and kind of having two very different vibes around, with being kind of up in the forest and hills in one part and kind of being more down near some homes and businesses and things like that on another. So super cool, super well made, and Rainmaker is still working on it seems like as well, so it's only going to get better from here. You can find this one down in the link in the description below. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. If you did enjoy this video, a like and a sub would mean a lot. Be sure you check out my second channel, JC Racing. Once again, that'll be the top link in the description below. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Have a good one, guys.